It's time to cook with Susan Beck, and I am going to make a tomato feta pasta bake that is so simple and easy and absolutely delicious. So I've preheated my oven to 400 degrees. I'm going to get that warming up while I prepare my ingredients for this excellent pasta. Now I just want just the tiniest bit of olive oil in the bottom of my pan. It doesn't take much at all. I just want to make sure things don't stick. Makes for a little bit easier cleanup. So I'm just kind of rotating it around and letting that run a bit. In fact, maybe my pastry brush would come in handy for that. So let's just smooth that around so there's just a little bit of oil covering the bottom of that pan. A friend just recently gave me this recipe because they knew I had a lot of cherry tomatoes in my garden at the end of the season here. And they're like, oh, have you ever made this? This is just the best use for cherry tomatoes. Buy them at the store if you don't have them in your garden. All right, next I am using feta cheese. This is an entire brick of feta. Don't buy the already broken crumbled. And feta, I don't know, there's just something, there's tangy little bite to feta. It's got a little bit of saltiness. It's so creamy. I just absolutely love feta. Now, number of tomatoes you use is kind of up to you. 2 to 3 pints is good. I am just going to cover the rest of my pan here right around that feta cheese that's located in the middle. So these are all washed up. All the little stems are off the top. And I'm just going to fill my pan here. And so we're going to roast these, and they're just going to burst in the oven in that heat and just be kind of softened up and make a fabulous sauce. So I put a little ground pepper on. I'm going to put a little bit of salt on the top of those. And oh, one last thing. Can't forget the garlic. So I have 3 cloves of garlic here. Pop those into my garlic peeler. This is an awesome little silicone tube, and watch all those papery pieces just fall off, and I'm left with just these nice chunks of garlic. All right, that was 2 of them. Let's get the paper off the 3rd one. Oh, slides right off. Let's take the end off of these garlic cloves, and then we'll just chop them into 3 or 4 pieces and just put them on top of your tomatoes. And this is ready for the oven, anywhere from 30 to 40 minutes. Well, now that the tomatoes and the feta and the garlic are all in the oven, I've just got a pot of water. It's time to get that heating up so that we can cook our pasta. Now I want to put a couple teaspoons of salt into that. Pasta just tastes so much better if it's cooked in salt water. So put a lid on that, it'll come to a boil a little quicker. As for what pasta I'm going to use, today I'm using penne pasta, but in the past I've used capervati pasta, I have used bow tie pasta, just whatever's in your pantry, that would be just fine. Pick any pasta you would like. The salted water is boiling. In goes all of my pasta, 16 ounces. My pasta's cooked, and so something I'm going to do is drain this with a bowl underneath. I want to capture some of my pasta water in this bowl because that is going to be part of my sauce. So simple as putting something underneath your strainer. It's time to mix it all together. Look at those cherry tomatoes. There's just something about roasting vegetables, and we'll see in a minute how soft that garlic is. We've got our pasta water, and we're going to garnish it with some basil. The first thing I'm going to do is just kind of pop all of those cherry tomatoes and let their juices out. I'm not going to, hit them real hard, but just using the back of the spoon here. Just kind of make them burst a little bit. That is going to be part of our sauce. And then we're also going to take that feta. So I smash those just a little bit more. All right, then we're also going to smash that feta, and it's just all melty and gooey. Kind of work that around in there. And I'm going to start with 1/2 cup of that pasta water to add to my sauce. You can use more or less. It really depends on the consistency that you want. I think that half a cup is a good starting point. Now, by keeping the pasta water, remember it's got a little salt in it, and it's like starchy from the pasta. Now, the other thing I want to make sure I break up that I didn't mention is making sure all those garlic cloves that were in there also get smashed. Oop, a little bit of liquid pop in there. All right, there's another garlic clove. All right, in goes my 16 ounces of pasta. Now, that was just cooked according to the manufacturing box recipe there. You know what they tell you to do. Toss that all together. And if you don't think you have enough sauce, just add a little more of that pasta water. Get some feta everywhere, some tomatoes everywhere. All right, last thing then, I love to add some fresh basil to the top. Now you could just sprinkle on some dried basil. You could skip the basil. You've got oregano or some other Italian herbs. That would be just fine as well. All right, just pulling the leaves off the stem because I don't want that big woody stem. And my favorite way to cut up basil is to kind of just roll it all together and then cut it into little ribbons. So onto the top of our pasta goes some basil. Just makes it look nice and pretty, and it adds a little flavor. Oh, it looks absolutely gorgeous. I can't wait to try it. That tangy feta is just perfect, and I just love these cherry tomatoes in there. They're roasted, and it just gives them just a nice earthy taste. It's just a nice creamy sauce. The little basil on the top has just the right amount of seasoning, and I can't wait to eat all of this.